Welcome back to Access Anime. My name is Henshin Ikeda, and so I'll be doing a walkthrough and review of Valvrave the Liberator, Episode 9. Now, if you remember from last episode, we're taken back to a flashback where we get to see Elef and a random princess, and Elef's taking this random princess hostage, but the end result being this princess saves Elef's life. And it's very dramatic, but we really don't know a lot about this princess or what faction she belongs to. Does she belong to the Dorsan Army, the JIOR? We really have no idea. But in the present, we find out in Elef's pocket there's a picture of this princess. Just putting that out there. Now, moving on past that, in the present, we find out the Dorsan Army, yet again, attacks the new JIOR. And what does that mean? Haruto and Rokino show up in their Valvraves, and they attempt to defend the new JIOR, but they're caught in a trap. And what does that mean toward the end of the episode? Come on, it's obvious. Haruto turns to Elef for help, and they form an alliance, and Elef saves the day. And that's where the episode ends, and all my final thought rating at the end of the clip. So stay tuned, but let's dive right on in. So we open up this episode with Aina's death. In last episode, Aina dies, and in this episode, we get to see Aina's death being broadcasted live online. Not so much her dying, but more or less like her online funeral. And because it's her online funeral, we see about 76,000 plus people post on her wall, rest in peace and what have you. So she's getting a lot of attention from people she doesn't even know of, even though she's now dead. So this is very dramatic, and it has a weird appeal toward a few different individuals that are living in the new JIOR, just putting that out there. But moving on past that, we're taking to a little cutscene with Thunder. Now, if you remember correctly, Thunder is the bully in this anime series on the new JIOR, and Thunder, he promises to pilot one of the mechas. And we don't want to see that. We don't want to see Thunder pilot any mecha. He's just a crazy bully, which we have no idea why he wants to. Is it for the death of his friends? Or, you know what? Who really fucking cares? We just don't like him. Or at least, I don't like him. Maybe it's because he's got, like, orangish hair. He reminds me of Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho, and I'm not really much of a fan of Kuwabara, let alone Thunder. But moving on past that, we are taking to a little cutscene with Haruto and Elef. Now, apparently, Haruto and Elef, right now, they're getting along like best friends, and it's kind of weird. And we see Elef, he's planning everything, like how the government's going to be set up for the new JIOR, and everything looks like it's going swell, except Haruto, he turns into a vampire, per se, that's the downside of being a Valvrave pilot, of course. He turns all vampire, and he tries to attack Elef, and Elef just socks Haruto right in the stomach, or in this case, he hits him in general. And that's where we open up with. Definitely interesting. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But moving on past that, now in our next scene, we're thrown with a little bit of information about the new JIOR. Apparently, the new JIOR is heading for the moon. And you're wondering, why is the new JIOR heading to the moon? Apparently, the moon is a neutral territory. So I guess the new JIOR is hoping that if they have a new location set to the moon, that they're not going to be attacked by, the Dorsan Army or the other faction. But I doubt that's going to happen. I mean, really, the moon being neutral? Come on, this is war. Nothing's neutral. It's open territory. Now, moving on past that, we find out the students on the new JIOR are training military style. So all of the people, or should I say the students on the new JIOR, are training for war. So it's getting a little more tense. Now it's definitely fallen under a dictatorship thanks to Elef. So at least they're training for war instead of doing absolutely nothing. But moving on past that, we are taking to a little cutscene with Thunder, and it's kind of a laugh out loud scene in my opinion, because Thunder tries to take one of the mechas known as the Valvraves for the 5th time, and he fails. So Thunder tries to steal the mecha yet again for the 5th time, and he fails. Now we are taking to a little cutscene with Elef. Now Elef, he's calling Kuyama, which is one of Haruto's friends, talentless, more or less, and telling him, you cannot pilot a mecha, or you're not going to. Now, I assume Elef's telling Kuyama he can't pilot anything is because of what Kuyama's gone through. I mean, Aina's now dead, and he's taking everything so emotional. He's forcing himself to become a pilot when, in fact, he's not really a pilot at all. But either way you look at it, Elef, he's being really hard right now on this kid. I have no idea why he's being really hard on this kid, but he has his reasons, and I can't wait to see what they are. Now, moving on past that, we find out Kuyama, he kind of blows some steam, if that makes any sense. So we see Kuyama in a different cutscene. He's blowing off steam by taking apart and putting together a rifle. Basically, it's because of what LF said. LF pissed Kuyama off so much that Kuyama took it to heart that he was a weak pilot, or a weak soldier in this case, and that maybe if Kuyama works at it, he'd become a better soldier, or at least a better person. And I like where this is going. I see Kuyama in a different light, and he looks pretty good right now. Although, taking apart a rifle and putting it together again doesn't really mean shit to me. That just means you're pissed off of what some kid said about you. So I don't really care where that's going. However, at the same time, the Dorson army, yet again, is approaching the new JIOR, which means there's going to be another confrontation. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen. However, the new JIOR, yeah, it's a new organization. You know, they're now reformed, and they have a new defense. That's right. The new JIOR has a new defense system up and running thanks to LF. All thanks to LF. This kid is fucking amazing. They don't call him the one-man army for nothing. Apparently, LF, he updated the new JIOR on their defense system, so in case the Dorson army attacks again, they're not just relying on the Valvraves. So I love where this is going. However, the Valvraves, they come out as planned, and they are going to act as decoys. At least that's what it looks like. Now, I should point out there's a second wave from the Dorson army. So we're not just dealing with one wave, we're dealing with multiple waves from the Dorson army. So although they are shocked to see the new defense system that the new JIOR has, they're still ready for the Valvraves. So they do manage to ambush the Valvraves in a second attempt. So I definitely thought that was worth mentioning. However, we are taken to a different cutscene, and they're blocked out more or less, if that makes any sense. We see Thunder, and Thunder is now free from his little cell because his fifth attempt trying to steal the mechas kind of pushed him into being arrested, more or less. He was confined, but now Thunder is set free because the power in the new JIOR is kind of fluctuating in a downside, if that makes any sense. And what I mean by that is LF took all the extra power from the new JIOR to put into his defense system, and that kind of backfired because now all the power that controlled the cells and whatnot have gone out. So Thunder is now free to do whatever he wants. And we do see a little cutscene with Satomi. Now Satomi is freaking out more or less, and I love seeing this. But what does this mean? What does this really add up to? Because we see Kuyama, and he's ejected from the defense system. Because apparently part of the defense system relies on humans, you know, piloting, or should I say, not really piloting, but going inside these little gun units and shooting the enemies known as the Dorson army. And apparently a few of these defense systems, which LF created, of course, are ejecting their pilots. And one of their pilots, or should I say, one of their personnel that's operating their guns, was Kuyama. And Kuyami's doing pretty good, but he was ejected when his unit was destroyed. So we have Thunder, he's now free. We have Satomi freaking out, and we have Kuyama being ejected from his machine. So this is getting definitely chaotic, because we don't know who's going to pilot the next mecha. I don't want to see any of these guys piloting the next mecha. However, I should point out, now that all three of them are running around and we don't know what's going to happen, Kuyama catches Thunder trying to get into one of the Valvraves. So finally we see Kuyama grow a pair of balls, and he's doing the right thing. He stops Thunder from becoming the next pilot. And I loved where this was going, and to be honest, right now, Kuyama looks like the top contender to become the next pilot of the Valvraves. But moving on past that, we are taken to a laugh-out-loud little cutscene where we see LF, and apparently he has already approved the next pilots of the Valvraves. And the next pilots happen to be Thunder and Kuyama. I mean, get the fuck out! These were the guys that I did not want to see become the next pilots. However, you know, Thunder and Kuyama apparently are going to be the next pilots, and it's kind of funny. Now, Kuyama becomes the third pilot automatically after stopping Thunder, so I thought that was kind of funny because now he's going to be put in charge on saving the new JIOR. So out of nowhere, Kuyama is the third pilot, and he's being sent out to save the new JIOR, which it kind of makes sense in my opinion. Now his mecha, its power is to shield. It blocks like ongoing beams and whatnot. So Kuyama's mecha, which doesn't have a name yet, it uses shields, so it has a lot to do with shields and blocking of, you know, laser beams and whatnot. That's definitely unique. We have yet to see that. Now, as for Thunder, Thunder becomes the fourth pilot. Yeah, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth because he's a freaking bully. But you know what? To each their own. At least now we have 4 mechas that belong to the new JIOR out of 5, which we have which we have actually seen so far. But again, Thunder is the 4th pilot, and apparently he saves Kuyame at the last moment, and we see Kuyame and Thunder pair off together, so now they are considered a team. Definitely weird, but you want to say no, we don't want to see this, because Kuyame, okay, he's good on his own, but Thunder? Fuck no. I don't like Thunder. In fact, his mecha looks like something from a construction site, but yeah, it's a Valvrave, believe it or not, but they're a good team. Believe it or not, they are a good team, and the Dorsan army, they're defeated. Ironically, right? As for Thunder, Thunder is now under arrest. Once he gets back into the new JIOR, he's been placed under arrest because he broke, the new JIOR's laws. You broke out of jail even though you did the right thing, and guess what, buddy? You're going back to the Slammer. You may be the 4th pilot, but you're under arrest. And I loved it. It was a great ending for that. Now, toward the end of the episode, we're thrown with a little bit of information. Apparently, everyone on the new JIOR, all the adults, I should say, they were scientists apparently. So what does this tell us about the new the previous JIOR? Again, this is new information to me. Apparently, this is the big secret. JIOR that had the Valvraves, all of the adults that worked there were scientists mostly and military. So the JIOR, or in this case Module 77, it was constructed to design and create the Valvraves, and all of these students from the academy supposedly were picked out to be the next pilots and to help work on this project over time, of course. So that's where the episode ends. As for final thoughts, well, first of all, who was in charge of this project that was on Module 77? Who picked out all these kids? Who set up the mechas? We have no idea. But as for the colonel from the Dorsan army, he points out in this episode that there is a certain mecha that is inside the new JIOR that's giving birth to the next generation mechas. And that giving me a big scratch on the head and wondering what did he mean by that? And are there going to be more mechas in the next upcoming episodes? I think so. But that ends it for my final thoughts. As per my rating, 4 out of 5. I love this episode. Are you kidding me? There was a little drama because of Aina's death with Kuyame. But moving on past that, come on, we get to see 2 more pilots, adding up to a total of 4 Valvrave pilots now. I love that. And where is Satomi? Satomi is nowhere. He is not the 5th pilot yet, but he could be. Just putting that out there. He could be. And although LF was playing, I guess he was lying to everyone where he said, Thunder and Kuyame weren't going to be the next pilots. Kuyame was talentless, more or less. That was all for show. In fact, LF already chose the next 2 pilots, which, wow, he is a genius. He made these guys feel so bad that they were a piece of crap that they made them, that gave these guys a lot of motivation to become something better. Although that's not saying much for Thunder because he's just a random bully, but hey, when the time called for it, they were there. I loved it. But again, final rating, 4 out of 5. And that ends it for my walkthrough and review of Valvrave the Liberator Episode 9. Definitely comment down below, let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down. Definitely subscribe, check me out on Twitter, and follow me if you like. Let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you think's going to happen in the next episode coming out. But again, guys, that is it for now. I got to hit the bricks, and I got to go. And before I go, I got to say it, and I always say it. You can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.